the Italian Football Podcast.
Before we move on from Juventus, this is important. Let's talk about Igor Tudor. Igor Tudor comes in. He's preferred to Roberto Mancini, who was the other candidate for this job. It seems like Tudor's got it, partly because of the Juventus connection. He knows the club and everything, but also because he's more of a low risk than Mancini in the sense that he's happy to just take the job until the end of the season without any clause or any, guarantees of getting the job permanently. Whereas Mancini, it seems Mancini was happy to take the job to the end of the season, but said, look, if I get Champions League, I want the job permanently. And Juventus didn't want to risk that. Probably more complicated getting the contract done for Mancini than Tudor. They needed to move fast. They've gone for Tudor. So that's why
I think Igor Tudor is just a traghettatore. I think they're just going to bring him in to finish the season. I don't think he's going to be Juve's manager next season. Not if they make the Champions League. I don't see that. My money's still on Roberto Mancini. I think this buys them time to negotiate calmly, to be able to plan their next season should they make top four, and they can look at and say, okay, what's out there? What can we do? What do we want to do? What's the next step? Like, it buys time.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like you said, they need someone that can give them a bounce, and I think he did a good job with Lazio in giving them.
I think Tudor is a good coach.
I
think Tudor is a decent coach. Yeah, I don't think he's a permanent fixture at Juve, no. But to get them to the top four,
the issue with him is he generally doesn't rub off that well on his players. He hasn't had a good relationship with a lot of players. That shouldn't matter for 2 months. No. If it gets them over the line, who cares if he falls out with all of them? But we've seen him fall out. We've seen that with Lazio. I mean, they didn't like him, and he wasn't there for very long. Guendouzi was going to leave if he stayed, and he had some issues with players. Quite a few players at Marseille as well. He's somebody that doesn't generally get on quite. He does have some issues with players. But, Juventus have to think short-term here. They have to think about getting in that top four. That's all that matters now. Then, like you said, at the end of the season, they regroup and they make a long-term decision on the permanent coach. How will Juventus line up with Tudor? I mean, it's going to be a back three, isn't it? It's going to be a 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1. That's what Tudor does. It's what he knows. So you're going to get some winners and losers. The winners are going to be, I think everybody's said this, the winner's going to be Dusan Vlahovic. Tudor called him the best striker in Serie A year or two ago. He's going to play. He probably suits his football more, more kind of box play. And so he's probably going to be up front. The losers are going to be the wingers. He's not going to play with wingers. And Juventus have a lot of them. They built their whole transfer market on wingers last year. But, again, this is where the whole kind of synergy that I'm talking about not planning. But again, This is desperation stuff. Juventus just need to get in the top four. The wingers are all going to lose out. Conceicao, where does he? I don't think he has a position. Nico Gonzalez. Who else is there? I mean, even Yildiz, maybe he can adapt into a front
I think
two,
Yildiz
or behind the striker. He could maybe adapt. Even Muani. I mean, I'm not even sure if he 100% fits a 3-4-2-1. Maybe if he goes 3-5-2, he can play in a front two. But
I'm thinking 3-5-2, Muani and Vlahovic together up front.
But I mean, if he plays a 3-4-2-1, I'm not sure where Muani fits. I mean, if he's the lone striker, yes. But if it's the two behind the one, can he play there? Not really convinced he can. So, there's quite a few losers in terms of personnel. But we're talking about 9 games here. But again, it comes back to what we said about the synergy. You're going from a manager to a 3-5 manager without wingers. You built your transfer policy around wingers, and now you're hiring a coach who doesn't play wingers, for quarter of a season. Really, I mean, it's failure. It's complete failure across the board in terms of planning and everything. But they have to do what they have to do to try and get into get in the top four.
No, they have to. I can't even begin to explain to Juventus fans and others what an absolute failure that would be. Like what it would mean. I think it would set Juventus back at least 3 years. It would mean a complete financial meltdown that they're not going to be saved from. Very simply put.
Yeah.
And there's going to have to be made big sacrifices in the squad. Like I can't even begin to explain what that would mean for Juve.
Yeah, for sure. But if we have a look at like a probable 11 for Tudor, recording this on Monday. Let's say 3-5-2. If he goes 3-5-2, Di Gregorio in goal. I mean, the back three, we're looking at Gatti, Kalulu for sure. Whether Gatti's to the right centre back or Kalulu's to the right centre back, guess it could go either way. And then the left centre back, we're looking at Vega or Lord Kelly. And then the wing backs, we're probably looking at Weah and Cambiasso.
I think it's going to be them.
And then the centre midfield, I think Thuram and Locatelli, I would expect. I would expect those two to be there. And then probably Koopmeiners, if we're talking about a straight midfield three. And then up front, we're probably looking at Vlahovic and either Kolo Muani or Yildiz as the two. If they go 3-4,
that's what I'm thinking.
If they go 3-4-2-1, which I think maybe is Tudor's more favoured position, then we're probably looking at Thuram, Locatelli, Koopmeiners, and then the two behind the one, you probably added in an extra midfielder. So that could be McKennie, could be Koopmeiners behind the two. I don't really see, maybe Yildiz as well could probably play in that two behind the one.
Yeah.
I don't really see Muani or Conceicao or Nico Gonzalez playing in that two behind the one. I don't know how you use those players, to be honest, other than as maybe subs to try and bring on if you need a goal and you need to go more attacking in the last 20 minutes. So, yeah, those players are a bit screwed for the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
No, they are. And, well, that's how it feels like anyway. But I think right now it doesn't, who cares? Juve have to finish top four. It's as simple as that. And because it's crisis. And it's quite a mess. You can tell by Juventus as well that the vibe around Juve that people are fed up. Fans are completely fed up. They've had it. There's not much patience generally at these clubs, Inter, Milan, Juve, but at Juventus and Milan, the patience is beyond finished. It's literally, there is nothing. Like, everyone has had it. And it's not just the coach, it's not just some of the players, it's the whole situation that the fans have had it with Juve, completely had it. And they need to make top four and then have a proper serious rebuild. And that's why I keep talking about Roberto Mancini, because look, in order to succeed at a club like Juve, you have to understand you have to be able to handle the pressure, you have to be able to handle everything around it. You have to be able to handle the internal politics of the squad vis-a-vis the board. You have to be able to handle the media. You have to be able to handle the fans, the expectations, all of those things. And, Roberto Mancini has won titles at Man City, at Inter, at Galatasaray, with Italy. These are tough, big, with Fiorentina, with Lazio. I mean, everywhere he's been, he's won trophies, and it's not been easy places to win trophies at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We'll have time.
So he knows what it is, and also what people have to remember is that yes, Mancini is stubborn, yes, but he's also somewhat of a Renaissance man. The Mancini at Inter is not the Mancini at Italy 10, 15 years later. He changed completely. So he knows how to build from the back. He knows what is needed. Adapt. He knows how to adapt. And above all, people talk about, we always talk about on this pod about young players getting a chance. Roberto Mancini is outstanding with young players.
But Mancini's best quality is actually his scouting, is his player identification, know him, and also joining in with the Mercato. I don't know how well that will work with Giuntoli, to be honest, but he's very good at identifying players, even for Italy. I mean, he bought players for Italy as well, let's be honest.
Retegui No, but not just that. Look at what he took over when Italy, after the Ventura flop, and Italy had this young group of players, which he identified and built around for 2 years, ending up with winning the Euros.
Yeah.
And none of them were established stars. They were under 21 players. And he saw that.
For sure. I mean,
so for me, I just, yes, but then you have the other side, and that is, he is a volatile character. He can get pissed off if he thinks things aren't working. He doesn't care. He's always been a bit of a anarchist in the sense of a rock star, do you know what I mean? Like a punk rocker. He's always done his own thing. I've seen him do things which are hilarious to watch, but it's not so good to have. He goes his own way. He's not a company man. He's not a Da Juve kind of character.
No.
But
also he's also coming off, massive failure at Saudi Arabia and a bad end to the Italy as well. So there is that as well. But listen, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Mancini, I'm sure, at the end of the season.